Hello and welcome to the Securing Industry podcast brought to you by Arcadian Technology. This is where I interview specialists across the world of OT and industrial security. I am pleased to welcome my latest guest, Heinz Marien, to the podcast. Hi, Heinz. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, David.
Heinz is the founder of OT Secure. Heinz, if you would just like to give a quick introduction of yourself before we kind of move on to our key topic, which will be discussing how we can establish OT security in the development of OT security products. But more about that later. If you could just give a quick introduction, that'd be fantastic, Heinz.
Yeah, sure. Great. I started in OT software development in the metal and mining industry. So really deep in the, old-fashioned OT industry. And after doing this for more or less one year, I was thinking by myself, okay, is this really secure? What we are doing, what kind of impact can this have for the lifetime of the solution we are delivering to a customer? And so I started thinking about all the topics which nowadays are all described in the risk management of secure software development. But this was already in 2004, more than 20 years ago. And so that was more or less the initial the time when I was getting in contact with cybersecurity, secure software development, and so on. And then my current position is I'm a global head of product security in a company which is developing software solutions for the energy industry. And there the challenge is that we are developing software for on-premise usage, and also we are offering software as a service or cloud solutions to our customers.
So in some ways, your job, it really intersects that kind of world of IT and OT security, which you see a lot in some positions.
Absolutely. Coming from the OT area, and now I'm also covering the IT with software as a service solution and products. Normally, the other way around is normal, coming from the IT and then trying to enter the OT area. But that is also a very huge approach because in OT, lots of things are completely different.
Okay. And just maybe a little quick word about your own business, OT Secure.
Yeah, due to my knowledge, I want to share this knowledge with companies who do not have the possibility to establish an own cybersecurity expert in the domain of OT products. And so I want to offer my knowledge, my experience also with the secure software development process according to the IEC standards and all the things that are necessary when we think on European Union regulation like the Cyber Resilience Act. So also in the OT product development area, lots of things has to be changed. And I'm glad to support companies who do not have their own expertise of this.
Cool. Brilliant. Thanks for that overview, Heinz. That's really interesting. So moving on to our key topic for today, I'm sure there'll be some great insights in this, but we're going to talk about how we can establish OT security in the development of OT products. So maybe if we start with what's best practice, kind of what are the key success factors that we need to look for if we're doing this, Heinz, or if a company is doing this in terms of establishing OT products?
Yeah, there may be some surprising answers now because we are talking about OT's product development, and the most important topic is really to understand that OT security is not just a product feature. And we have to talk about processes. I know this is boring and nobody wants to get into these details, but I always have more or less a picture which describes this very successful. If you think on a bobby car, which your kid owns, and if he's driving around in the garden with a bobby car, everything is safe, and you do not have any complaints about doing so. And but if your kid wants to go on the pedestrian area there, you may start having concerns about it. May something can happen. So you are buying a helmet and give your kid a helmet, so everything is safe. And now with this secure or safe environment, bobby car with a helmet for your kid. But now if your kid wants to drive on a motorway with the bobby car and the helmet, I think nobody wants to describe this as a safe or secure environment. But this is sometimes a situation we have in OT product development. And so there we have to think about not making another or introducing another product feature to our product. We have to talk about processes. How can we make our product secure for the users of the product, and how also we as a vendor of the product, how can we handle this nowadays and also in the future? Because the big difference between IT and OT is that in the OT we are talking about investment cycles of the operators or owners of the product about 15 years or maybe also even longer. And there everybody has to understand that security does not stop when we have released a product. Security is a topic over the whole life cycle of a product, from the commissioning of the product up to the decommissioning or disposal of a product. And during the whole time, we have to provide information to the customers. We have to maintain the product. And this is a topic we have to do as a vendor until to the time we are discontinuing the product. And this is important to understand that this must be covered. And as described with this picture with the bobby car, there the product life cycle has to be going through several milestones or through several pillars, like requirements engineering, just to think about what really is necessary to establish in the product to make it secure. Then we have to think on how can we implement it in a secure way, and then tests topics are also covered. How can we establish a secure test for our products, and after releasing the product, vulnerability management is then for the most of the time the most important topic to be up to date, to have the knowledge about vulnerabilities in the released and sold products, and then later on inform also the customer about this, and providing security updates.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, yeah, it's you're talking about really future-proofing things when you're launching products because of the long life cycles within OT. Is that a mistake you see people make, Heinz, or that you've seen people make in the past when it comes to like implementing new products or product security? Is this one of the sort of main mistakes people make? Is that not that future-proofing?
Yes, as I mentioned, when I got into this area of product security, I was just thinking on, okay, when we are delivering our control system solution to hydroelectric power plants, what is happening to these plants over the lifetime? So we are delivering with the state of the art during commissioning times a solution to the customer. Everybody is happy, but what is happening after we are hand over this solution to the customer? And how can we integrate the unknown to our product, and how can we prepare our products to be also resilient in the future? And this is a big topic in OT product development. We are talking about really long time periods, as I mentioned, about 15 years or maybe even longer. And to be honest, I would not describe it as that OT vendors has made mistakes in the past. We just have to be very clear that in the past nobody was really taking care about security, and it was not in the focus of many people, and also not many vendors. And even nowadays, it's hard to get there really detailed information what really is necessary to create a secure product. Even in universities, you do not have there many sessions or lessons regarding secure software development, and so that is more or less a change in mind that was coming now over years and years. And so there a lot of things what we see in the OT product development is that security is not considered at all in the product development, not at the design and also not during the implementation phase. And may at the end of a development, someone is asking, okay, we have in a checklist an item, security, have we made something related to security? And that is more or less currently the situation for many products. It is changing now, also due to the European Union regulation, but a lot of time is really needed that all products in the field are fulfilling all the new processes, new regulations that security is considered to be part of the development from day one up to the discontinuation at the end of the life of a product. And that is also very, very strongly connected with this second, as they call it, mistakes, that security is seen as a technical problem. So we have a problem, and then if it's related to security, then the first impulse is always, okay, then we do something with encryption, and so we can solve this problem. And this is also then things a big and important topic, what I already mentioned. We have to think not on product features, we have to think on processes, because then if we just want to cover a technical problem with encryption or something like this, we have to ask ourselves what really is necessary for this product. And then we are coming really fast to the topic to think about what is the intended purpose of the product? Where do I want to use the product for? And then we can also discuss this topic in the risk management to decide, okay, what is really the proper mitigation measure, because it's very easy to implement and create some requirements what to do, but is this also efficient, and is this also necessary due to the risk tolerance that is accepted by the customer? That has to be decided then also during the risk management, because we also have to avoid over-engineering, because everybody in the product development has also the focus on the economical side of the product development. If we are doing then the over engineering, then also the economic situation of the product is also not going in the correct direction.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds, I suppose you have to consider different factors, don't you? When you're developing a product in OT security, do you do it with the end user in mind, or do you have to do it with the regulations in mind to start with, or is it a bit of a combination, Heinz? Because
Yeah, it's both.
mm,
Uh, first at all, if you are developing a software or a product, uh, independent if it's for IT or for OT, you need someone who feels and is responsible for security at the products.
mm,
That is the first important topic, and then, as you mentioned, someone has to bring in the expectation from the customer, and the product with security responsible has to bring in the legal topics. Which kind of compliance requirements do we have? Do we have to fulfill, for example, as I mentioned, the European Union Cyber Resilience Act with all of its requirements there? And does the customer have for dedicated project, for dedicated demand, some certain requirements, because it's in a different industry where we have industry specific requirements, and this all has to be considered from different perspectives. And so therefore, someone has to be, as mentioned, responsible for this, for the product security. And this includes also collecting all these requirements.
mm. Okay, brilliant. You might have already mentioned some of this, but maybe I'm just thinking for our listeners, if an OT vendor was starting tomorrow in terms of trying to develop a product or bring a product to market, what should they do first, Heinz? What are the three things that they should do first as a vendor wanting to bring a product into the market?
Yeah, I see there more or less 4 points, which are really
Okay.
important. The first one is more or less the low-hanging fruit. Just update the documentation. As I mentioned, the intended purpose must be documented, and then all the existing security requirements has to be documented, and so on. So that is more or less quite easy to do. Um, but then, based on this existing documentation, a risk assessment and a threat analysis can be taken place, because based on the documentation, we can discuss, okay, for this intended purpose, what kind of risk would the customer accept? What kind of risk do we have to mitigate? What kind of threats do we see for this kind of product? And so on. And then the output of this risk management, of this risk consideration, is the cybersecurity requirements, which has to be implemented then for the product. And for the whole product development, as I mentioned, processes are a key topic. There has to be made a gap analysis. What do we have already existing for secure software development processes, and where are our gaps? And these gaps has to be closed. And then finally, which is also part of the secure software development processes, is the big topic of vulnerability management. So to get aware of what kind of vulnerabilities are in our products, we have to deliver to our customers, because this is then the base to inform the customers about vulnerabilities, which are part of the Cyber Resilience Act, and also later on to deliver security updates and to deliver this to the customers.
Okay. That's really interesting. It's really interesting, Heinz. And Are you seeing any particular trends in the current market or particular industries for products at the moment? Are you seeing any particular trends or challenges across the different industries like energy, manufacturing, pharma, anything like that?
Yeah, I see there in regulated markets, or
Mm,
markets which are really belonging to critical infrastructure, that the authorities in the various countries are really taking this topic more serious, also due to the geopolitical situation we are facing
mm,
at the moment. And so the operator and users of products in the OT area are really taking this also serious, because due to the pressure from the authorities, and this is then coming also back to the OT vendors, where they are facing the situation that some critical infrastructure operators are have wants to having software development audits to verify the security processes in the company who delivers and prepares OT software. This is a situation and a trend what I see, and in the future I will think this will come more and more. Um, if the companies are not having certified software development processes.
okay. Where does the liability sit in that scenario? Is it with the vendor or is it with the executives of the end users if they were to get an attack, for example, and your product is exposed? How does that work? Have you ever been in a scenario like that, Heinz?
I personally not. We have not
Okay,
had
that's a good.
during the more or less more than 20 years a situation where we have delivered
Mm,
a product or a project solution, and we had then a cybersecurity attack on this, or we are having severe vulnerabilities, and but. Uh, the liability topic is it's really also a topic which is coming back to these secure software development processes, and
mm,
that is part of the documentation. As a vendor, you have to describe everything in your documentation, but because what is not documented is not available as a product, and to be in the best starting position if something really happens, then you have to provide any kind of documentation that you have informed the user, your customer, about technical details, that, for example, you have made a risk analysis, what was the outcome, and also that you have documented maintenance guidelines for the operator, how he can maintain the product in a secure way. And then in the next 2 years, there's a transition period for the new European Union Product Liability Act, and this is also more or less strengthen the liability topic a little bit, because with this new product liability directive from the European Union, the vendor is liable for the impact of a security attack if it was based on your product. And
right.
and the time period is you are liable for the impact until the time you have provided an update. And
Right.
so that is let's call it a huge motivation for a vendor to provide a security update to customers. Of course,
Mm,
then for the operator, for the user of the product, they have to decide, okay, what is their update and patch policy? How do they want to update and install security updates if they want to install it immediately, if they want to install it maybe only 1 or 2 times per year, and so on. That's then later on the decision of the user, of the product owner. And that is then in the liability, of course, then of the operator. That is not related to the liability of the OT product vendor.
Okay, that's interesting. So the documentation is key to keep that simple.
Yeah, yeah,
Protect yourself if you are a vendor, for example, in that, and then obviously the operator takes responsibility in terms of how often they will have
yeah.
updates, etc. Yeah, that makes sense. It's quite logical. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. But no, look, that's very interesting, Heinz. Thanks for sharing your insights there and ultimately your experience. You've got a lot of experience to share. So, thank you very much for that. And is it okay if any of the listeners from hearing this want to connect with you on LinkedIn or reach out for advice for your own consultancy,
Sure,
Heinz? Are you
sure,
open
of
to that?
course. Just give me a
Mm,
note via LinkedIn or via
yeah,
email or whatever, and then we can discuss, of course, your demands, your needs you see to fulfill the upcoming regulation, or in general just to improve the security situation for your products.
that's brilliant. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on the podcast, Heinz. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much. And thanks for anyone that's tuned in. Please subscribe and see you again. Thanks, Heinz.
Yeah, thanks, David. Was a pleasure
Thank
also
you.
for me.